Hi, my name is Rachel Dorn. Welcome to art history class. I want to introduce myself to you, and I want to talk to you a little bit about what this class is going to be about. So I'm going to shrink myself down so that you can see the screen. So this class is Impressionism through Postmodernism. The focus of this class is going to be looking at art history. This class is different from an art appreciation class in that we're going to be looking into not just what the artwork looks like and how it was made, but why it was made, what we know about the culture, what looking at the artwork tells us about what these people valued, what they believed in, what they thought was important. And we are going to look at a number of different art styles, art history styles, that are happening through the 19th and 20th and a little bit into the 21st century. We are going to be focusing mainly, gotta move myself here, mainly on Western art. And when we say Western art, depending on the time period, we mean Europe, we mean the Mediterranean, we mean in the United States. In this class, we're going to spend a lot of our time in France, the United Kingdom, moving a little bit into Spain, Italy, Belgium, some of these other countries. And then we will be moving to the United States right after or right before World War II. We are also in the very end of the class, we're going to spend some time talking about art history, or art movements, contemporary art movements, meaning art happening now or art happening within our lifetimes, all over the world. And so right at the very end, we'll start to step away from that Western focus. But at the beginning, that's where we'll be. So what are we doing in art history? Well, we are looking at artworks, of course, and we are talking about a whole bunch of questions about these artworks. We want to know who made the artwork. We want to know what the artwork is made out of. We want to know when it was made. We want to know where it was made, and not just where, as in it was made in France, but a little bit more about what the culture is that's creating this. For example, this artwork called La Grande Odalisque was made at the same time as some of the other artworks we'll talk about, but in a different style. And so the artist who made it, the people he hung out with, their ideas about what art should be were a little bit different than some other artists who were painting at the same time and in the same general place. We also want to know how the artwork was made, so we want to know about materials. When I say what, we're talking about what it was made out of, as well as what we are actually looking at, the subject. So we see a woman who is a little bit elongated in her proportions, and this is made, as we can tell down here at the bottom, if you can see my mouse, this is made out of an oil paint on canvas. Here's another artwork of a person. I don't know where to put myself. Sorry, I'm a little bit in the way there. Here's another artwork that features a person, but the materials are different. What it is still a person, a different kind of person. We can't really tell if this is a man or a woman. And of course, the materials are different. This is made out of cast bronze. And all of these features impact what we understand about the artwork. We also want to know why the artwork was made. So we are going to get into, we're looking, like I said, mostly at Western art, and we'll start mostly in France. But actually, our very first chapter, it's an introductory chapter, and this introductory chapter is going to try to talk to us about how we go about doing art history, so what's important to know. And we're going to see this particular artwork, which was made, it's not a Western style art. This was artwork made by a Maori chief. It's a self-portrait, and if you give it a moment, you'll see that we see a face here. Now, this face is rendered differently than we are used to seeing in the West, and one of the things art history does is not only describe what we see. We see a face that's black and white, we see lots of lines, I can recognize the eyes, I can recognize the mouth, right? We do more than that in art history, and we say, why was this made? What does it tell us about the culture and what the culture values to see an artwork that looks like this, as opposed to one, this is the same subject, the same person, but this was painted by a Western painter. This is a watercolor, and we still have the same features, right? We still have the face, we still have the eyes, we still have the mouth, we still see the tattoo, but we have some additional features, and we also have some changes that the artist has made here very intentionally. This is an artist whose culture says what's important is creating an illusion of three-dimensionality. So here we have an illusion. This appears to be 3 dimensions, but it is actually flat. Here, the sculpture itself is 3 dimensions, and we just think we're looking at a photograph of it. So we are looking at an illusion, but the artwork itself is a physical object. Here, we know that the subject had 3 dimensions, so we know that the artist himself had depth, but the artwork, he hasn't shown us to that. He's in fact shown us this part of his face, and this part of his face, and this part of his face all at the same time. It's like it's been flattened out for us. Why? Because he wanted to show us that tattoo. He was, Te Pehikupe here, was more interested in showing us all the detail of his tattoo, and all of the information that's contained within this tattoo, because these pieces, the different pieces of the drawing actually, of the tattoo, actually tell him something. They tend not to tell most of us very much because we don't know the iconography. We don't know the meaning of these marks. They also didn't tell John Henry Sylvester, who's the artist who created this artwork, they didn't tell him very much. So he chose to show what he thought was most important, which was that this man took up space, that his head curved, that he had shadows that appeared at his cheek here, around, near his nose, that his hair had texture. And look what John Henry Sylvester's done. He's obscured some of the tattoo. We can't see it very well. We can see the tattoo much more clearly here. We cannot see it clearly here. We can see here that this is a man who takes up space. Here, we know that, but we can't actually see it in the artwork. So these are the kinds of comparisons and questions and approach that we're going to take in art history. The rest of this lesson that you're doing right now will tell you more about how things are organized in this class. I look forward to working with you this quarter.